Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to our short video. I'm Dean Leffingwell, and it's my privilege today to interview some folks from Chevron who have done an amazing job of large-scale transformation and cloud migration using SAFe. Specifically, I'll be talking to Konstantin Popov and Rochelle, who are both solution-trained engineers. So we don't often get a chance to get two STEs together for an interview. So with that, I'm first going to have our guests introduce themselves. So please tell us who you are and what you do at Chevron.
My name is Konstantin Popov. I'm a solution-trained engineer for IT Foundation Platform. I am also the ITFP, IT Foundation Platform LACE Manager.
Hello, my name is Rochelle, and I am also a solution-trained engineer with the Cloud Readiness Acceleration and Digital Enablement Program within Chevron. I am also an internal digital consultant within the organization.
So tell me a little bit about Chevron IT and your history with Agile and how you managed to find your way to SAFe.
Chevron is a large integrated energy company. We have roughly 50,000 employees that operate across 84 countries.
And a big IT staff.
Very big IT staff.
Yeah. And so it's important, and we found that it was essential for us to have a way to align and orchestrate the work that is happening within the organization, within different organizations within Chevron. And we found that SAFe was a great framework to allow us to do that, as well as create transparency between the different trains, between the different platforms portfolio, in order to ensure that we are moving in the same direction as we deliver value to our customers and to our stakeholders.
Were there pockets of evolving agility, Scrum and XP and Kanban that then kind of got integrated in this new model, or did this new model really bring kind of Trojan horse all the other Agile practices in?
Chevron has been very successful managing project using Chevron proprietary project management system. But the change is constant and the world around us is changing. Introduction of the cloud, increased usage of the Agile frameworks, shift from a project to product-centric approach, as well as increased focus on customer centricities are all extremely important catalysts for change. And for Chevron, one of the key catalyst, I guess, was the cloud migration.
So was that the tipping point that said, we're going to move everything in the cloud, we can't use this, we can't do this using our normal way of working?
We've ran a traditional program early on looking at cloud adoption, and we've learned a lot. It was a very important exercise, and one of the learnings was that we cannot waterfall our way into the cloud. And this is where we started the one Scrum team, and we pulled our key resources into this team. And then the team doubled in size every month. We switched from month 3, I guess, we switched from true Scrum to scaled Agile framework and ran our first PI and introduced Essential SAFe. And now we've gotten to the point in 3 years, the program was 700 people, 60 plus teams across a variety of trains.
And how many applications are you migrating?
We have about 5,800 applications. We're going to be migrating somewhere in the line of, and Konstantin, feel free to chime in here, I believe somewhere in the line of like 3,000 or?
So you should say that we have thousands of applications.
Thousands, okay.
And to date, we have over 1,000 applications in the cloud.
And how did SAFe assist that transformation, moving all those apps to the cloud?
So what we've done to be effective in migration, we gave a bit of autonomy based on who owns the application. But with that, we also needed some form of structure in order to ensure that we're prioritizing the applications that we're migrating. We have enough architecture runway that will support the different apps that we're migrating, whether it was an IaaS app, a PaaS app. So those the organization or Chevron realized that, SAFE framework is very effective in helping us lay out the foundation for this grand initiative, this endeavor that we were pursuing.
So I'm imagining teams being taught in classes by Chevron employees and SBCs and consultants and others. I'm imagining some pretty exciting large-scale PI planning sessions. I'm imagining standing up solution trains, and then I'm imagining COVID.
Yes.
So what was that like, and how did you manage to keep momentum, if you did, in application development when nobody can go to work anymore?
This is a good question, Dean. We were in the middle of integrating Cloud Readiness Acceleration Program with the IT Foundation platform. And we were coming up to the PI planning event, PI 20.2. And we were in need of, we were standing up new trains, new teams, onboarding new resources. And when everything stopped, we were looking for anybody and everybody to help us get through this. So we've reached out to Scaled Agile and trying to figure out what kind of resources do we have for collaboration. And this is where our partnership with Safe Collaborate started. A while ago, George Schlitz and Luke Hoffman introduced us to the predecessor of Safe Collaborate, and we were somewhat familiar with it, but really it started in March, and in partnership with Inbar and Andy, that they've listened to all of our needs, and in 3 weeks help us run a virtual PI planning for close to 800 people.
So the 800 people, I assume that's multiple arts in a solution train, a single solution train, or did multiple solution trains plan at the same time?
So the planning was sort of staggered between trains. Some of them were solution trains, some of them were arts. We did it in a way, we orchestrated it in a way where we don't have everyone doing PI planning at the same time. That also helped us in scaling the education of how to use the tools, and especially with Collaborate, and how to get folks accustomed to this new way of planning, of doing it remotely as opposed to doing it mostly in person in the past. So that staggered process helped.
So Collaborate is fairly new on our offering, and of course, we wouldn't have imagined that the first big demand was going to be supporting distributed PI planning, and then of course we're moving into the classroom management as well with a virtual classroom. Have you found your way to other templates and forums, different types of uses of Collaborate?
Oh, definitely. So since we were we initially used Safe Collaborate mainly for the purpose of doing PI planning, but as we were using it, and with the remote Safe certification class being enabled, we also realized how useful the tool was in order for us to engage the participants or the students in the class, not just with the virtual classroom, but a lot of the exercises or team activities, breakout activities could be done in Collaborate. I know we have options right now between PowerPoint and Collaborate, but I see the big difference of doing it in Collaborate. In addition to that, we also conduct design thinking and remote collaboration activities using Collaborate. And so it's I would say one of the key success factors for us to still be able to operate in this remote setting that we have.
Well, Collaborate was initially invented in support of market research, get lots of people online to have opinions, things like prune the product tree and other and empathy mapping, et cetera. It's new to our offering. As we moved into design thinking in the front end of Safe, it seemed like there was going to be a lot of value there. So we're happy to see you found your way to that and put it to good use immediately. You've been good users of the tool. And of course, you've given us a nice big backlog of things we need to do as well. Now, I also understand, Konstantin, that you had a subscription agreement where you could basically have all-you-can-eat training delivered by you or delivered by partners? Was that part of your implementation?
Yes, we were looking for a cost-effective way to retool our workforce. And initially, we were putting people through external training or partner trainings, and it was just costing us a lot of money. We have developed a team of lean agile change agents, and a majority of them were SPCs and could teach classes. Andy introduced us to the SLS and he really took the time to explain it. We had a lot of questions. How did it work? How many certification? What is the cost? In reality, this is, in my opinion, this is the only way to retool a large organization, is to buy a subscription, build a team of lean agile change agents that can train, basically SPCs, and then the value is great. I think over the last 7 months, we've trained over 600 people, and our cost savings are in hundreds of thousands of dollars if we were to put those folks through the external training.
Yeah, and irrespective of cost, did you find it easier to put up a small class or have 6 architects get together and take, say for architecture, or did it just better enable the training model?
It better enabled the training model for us. Like Rochelle mentioned, that all of the remote training and enablement of that, is great. We now have templates and Safe Collaborate that we use for all of our classes. It's very easy to set up the class. It's very easy to pay for it. We run classes up to 30 people, and sometimes we run classes for 2 people. Right? It's all based on the needs of the folks that we have. So absolutely, yes, it's very flexible.
So the larger picture is, it's not about collaborate, it's not about safe, it's about how people work together to build innovative solutions for today's customer. Everybody's working from home now. Can you speak to gains and losses and pluses and minuses with this new working model?
I think it's definitely an adjustment for a lot of people. I myself, been used to doing PI planning in person and going to the office every day. You get to talk to people, you see people, you can tap them on the shoulder if you need to talk to them. But it's a big adjustment. But I believe what has helped has been leadership support to say and realize that there is this adjustment period that needs to happen. But at the same time, there are tools that we've also used. Even prior to going remotely, Chevron being a very large organization, we have offices all around the world. So we have been leveraging tools like WebEx, Microsoft Teams, Azure DevOps for work item management, and more. But more recently, we've also engaged other, third-party applications to help us out as we mature in our practice. So one being Target Process, to help us have a better way of visualizing the portfolio level work and being able to drill down, if needed, on the different efforts that are happening by platform or maybe by art or by solution train and so forth.
Yeah, I think everybody realizes you have to tool at scale no matter what. So here's a tough question. What's it going to be like when this is no longer the case? Are we all going back to the big room? Are we going to continue to work from home? What do you think?
Dean, this is a good question. I think some people love it, some people hate it. I think with proper enablement, majority of our folks are saying that this virtual PI planning that we had was the best ever.
Wow.
People miss the big room and walking around. I personally love managing by walking around, and I love to check in on my people. But we are finding ways with Team, Safe Collaborate, and to be able to stay in touch, be able to collaborate on things, and get our work done. We stood up a number of new trains. We stood up a number of new teams. We've trained a number of resources. We onboarded many new people, all in this pandemic and challenging environment, and we have been very successful and with those new teams, some of them are in a second PI and going extremely strong.
That's fantastic. So if we took 10 companies aside and asked the solution trained engineers and RTEs and change agents and SBC, would say, what was the toughest thing, or what was the most enabling part of the process? They would say leadership is a really big deal because they don't write code, but lean thinking manager teachers behave differently, and we seem to always struggle creating those people. How did that work at Chevron? Did you always have top cover? Did you coach the leaders? Did the leaders help implement the process, or how did that work?
We had been very fortunate. The manager of cloud, Vicki Harris in Chevron, she was instrumental in giving us air cover very, very early on to be able to operate across organizational boundaries and really allow for us to build the foundation in Chevron with scaled agile frameworks, automation, pipelines. She helped us build OC in areas of software engineering and cloud. So yes, it is very important to have leaders that can negotiate that position in a traditional structure where you can start to operate and grow. We've done a lot of change management and training with our leaders, educating them about the value of a team of teams approach, and how synchronizing everything. We are now on our portfolio management maturity curve. We are introducing new tools. Rochelle mentioned we're working with target process for portfolio management. It is going to be the game changer for Chevron. So leadership buy-in and figuring out how do they help and how do we engage with them in the most effective way, and their support is absolutely critical.
It sounds like you had a high degree of technical competence in that leadership paradigm as well. If they understood cloud and DevOps, then seeing SAFe as an implementation of cloud and DevOps was probably not a tough sell in that regard.
We always go back to the Diamond quote. It's no longer about writing a check. Leaders must know what it is that needs to be done.
They do indeed. So probably it was perfect. You didn't make any mistakes, no lessons learned. You just did it by the book, just went right through.
That'd be too idealistic to say that.
Can you help us understand some things you would have done differently now that you have this experience?
Do you want me to go first, Konstantin?
Dean, I can tell you that if you are starting on this journey, first of all, you need to be able to start in a place that is less than perfect and less than certain, number one. Number two, you need to be prepared to get bruised up. This is not going to be easy, and a lot of people will feel that you are operating in their backyards, you are outside of your area of control. So, it will come. Absolutely, it's not easy, and you need to have that ability to work through that. I would, if I had to do it again, my personal experience, I would pay more attention to working with various leaders and make sure that we are, during the initiation, we have an opportunity to enroll and onboard various stakeholders. If you fail to do that during the initiation phase or early on in your transformation, you're setting yourself up for a very difficult change management process. And that would probably be one of the things that I would change about how I did this.
Do you folks or other SPCs have some experience in organizational change management that you put to bear, or did you follow the roadmap and just see where it took you?
I would say we actually implemented what we call a digital incubation program as part of the digital enablement program that we had. And I can definitely say that it varied, organization by organization, team by teams. On some level, when there's usually I'm talking about middle management buy-in and so forth. If there is buy-in on that, we can easily follow the roadmap to the dot, close to the dot. But there are situations, in most situations, I would say we have to take the Agile approach and understand where they're at and meet them there. Because we can't just say, you know, this is what SAFE says or this is what the roadmap says. We got to start from step 1 or step 3. So you really have to see where they're at. And it is more, as you know, one of our values says, right? It's more about people interaction than anything else.
Over processing tools.
That's right.
So if you were guiding a new enterprise down this path, what's the one thing you would tell them to watch out for?
Again, I would say start small, build a team of people that can help you drive change, look for a leader that can sponsor you, create the learning environment. That learning environment means that you establish trust where people can speak up and they can always do the right thing, however uncomfortable it is at that moment. And they, you know, but they feel that they're in a situation where they can do that because you're doing it for the greater good. Not everybody may see it and perceive it as such at that moment, but overall, this is, you know, you're on the right path.
That's taking a systems view. And lastly, what more should we do to continue to support you in your journey? What do we need to do in the framework or as a company? What could we do that we're not that could help you on your path?
Dean, I guess the key for me is this partnership has been invaluable for Chevron. We've been able to turn every step of the way. I remember going to the SAFE summits, going back to San Antonio.
Yep.
Yep. And, you know, talking to you about, you know, how do we deal with, you know, with such a large, global, integrated, so many players, and you always were able to find the time to give me advice. I worked very closely with Andy, with Inbar, and with many others that scaled Agile to help us either with training or giving us really good speakers, right? You know, we had classes early on, like with APSM and with the new LPM class. And so the partnership, please continue the partnership. You're listening to our needs. And like you said earlier, we are happy to contribute to the Collaborate backlog. We're happy to provide feedback on training and the whole use of the website and the articles. So for me, if you continue that, we're on a good path. So just a reminder, it's, you know, when you're doing this, you always have to think possible, probable, done. This has been our motto in Chevron, Cloud Readiness Acceleration Program, in IT Foundation platform. So go out there and give it a try.
So Rochelle and Konstantin, thank you so much for your time today. It's really an honor and privilege to hear from you and to be a supplier to a company like Chevron that has done such amazing things in making this transformation. It's not just Agile, it's not just SAFE. It's about creating a better way of working where it can create more innovative solutions more quickly for the market. What do you think? Are you guys good to go?
We are good to go. Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity, and we look forward to the continuous partnership.
I sure hope to see you in the field sometime, face to face.